That's pretty easy, actually. Strong. I really have a number of childhood memories of my dad. I remember him coming home from work and us playing outside, running out to greet him and playing outside. Kick the can was a favorite game. I remember playing catch with him, and the bigger balls weren't bad, but boy, I remember playing catch with the softballs, and I was just such a scaredy cat. I really didn't enjoy that at all. Let's see, favorite memories with my dad. That's certainly one of my favorite ones. He took me fishing and camping on a boat in Apache Lake, which I'm sure I enjoyed part of it. Although what I remember most is having to go to the bathroom on the side of the boat. It was just terrible. I do remember late at night he was fishing, probably for catfish, and I was trying to sleep, and there was the sound of the lantern, that real soft sound of a kerosene lantern as he was fishing, and I felt very safe. That was a good thing. I felt very safe. Oh, I think most teens have a number to choose from. The first one that came to my mind is I was sitting with a boy in the car in front of our house, and we were probably kissing. Anyway, all of a sudden, bright lights came on, and there was Dad parked in the car, his car, nose to nose with the car that I was in, and he had his brights on, and he didn't turn them off until I got out of the car and stormed into the house. Yeah. Well, my dad went to bat for me. When I was 15, I was working at McDonald's, and I think that was my first experience of an absolutely horrible manager. He was. He was horrible. And I'm sure combined with my sarcastic, immature personality and his extremely poor management skills, eventually I got myself fired, and it was very unfair, and it probably really was. And I came home and I vented and I was angry, and Dad came with me down to McDonald's so I could stand up for myself, and he was going to show me the support. And it meant a lot to me, although all I could do when we came face to face was cry. I couldn't talk, didn't talk. I just cried, and we left. And I did not get my job back at McDonald's. I'm sure there were many times that I wasn't even aware of where my dad was protective of me. Um, it was kind of how he showed his love, that and doing things for us. But one of my memories is when I was first diagnosed with my heart issue that required a pacemaker. Kind of came on pretty quickly to our knowledge. I mean, it had been there for a while, but once he knew what it was and how low my heart rate was, there was a small lapse of a day or two between that diagnosis and the surgery. And my dad would not let me be at home by myself unless I called him or Marilyn every time I got up from the sofa to go to the restroom or do anything. And it frustrated me a little bit, but I certainly recognized it as protective. And I remember walking into the hospital or right outside the hospital down a sidewalk, either right after the diagnosis or on the way in for surgery, probably after the diagnosis. And Dad was right beside me. He was being really protective. I think it scared him, me even walking, now that he had the knowledge that he had. There was two other times. One they were we were visiting them. It was Karis and Shay, and we went to Old Tucson. And Shay was a very big toddler, and at one point she got really hot and tired of walking, and so she needed mommy to hold her. And she was a big girl. I mean, I think she was 3, and at 3, she was really the size of a 4 or 5 girl at that stage of her life. And she was getting heavy, and Dad was getting quite protective. And he's like, go ahead and make her walk. And I'm like, Dad, she's a little girl. I just can't do that. She was a very young 3 and stuff. So he took her and sat her at a table and had fun talking with her. And then he went and took her in the car to sit there. I think she maybe fell asleep, and he sat in there while I finished up with Karis. And then the last time that really stands out in my memory was when I was pregnant with my late in life joy, Kaylee. and I was visiting them. I think I was probably, oh, I don't know, I'm thinking 6 months, 6, 7 months. And being that I was older and stuff, and we all went out to Gates Pass, and Dad was very protective. I mean, I'm not adventurous, especially at that time, but um, he was protective so that I wouldn't hurt myself or stumble on a rock or whatnot. And it was very sweet for me to be the age that I was and to have him being protective. So it was very sweet. Oh, yeah. All who know me know that I have my father's temper. Yep, yep, yep. And I also have his straightforward speech. I do. Whether that was personality by genetics or a learned trait, I'm pretty straightforward. I think you could pretty much say it about any of us Zimmerman girls. We have our own styles in it, but there's really never a doubt in what we mean. And the same can be said about my dad. You know, I really didn't appreciate this habit that I've learned from my dad until I got much older, actually. But I so value it now. And what that habit is you know, basically pull up your bootstraps and get it done. Just pull up your bootstraps and get it done. Um, it's helped me with my recent job. It certainly has helped me with um, the children as they had their tough moments and whatnot. And I don't anticipate it not being a great asset in the coming years just as much. As my kids turned to teens and then became adults, full fledged adults, I've really come to appreciate a truth that I wish I'd gathered earlier. But I think that every generation can say it, more than likely. Um, some probably sooner than I, and some later. And it's very sad if some never get it. But what it is the fact that when you're in the midst of it as a parent, you're doing the absolute best thing that you can do, handling whatever the situation the best that you know, and that your intent is always good because you do love greatly. I'm glad you're mine. You are valuable to me. I miss you always. I love you. In ending this day, I just want to wish you a happy Father's Day, and hopefully I'll get a chance to talk with you in a little bit. But regardless, this has been a little bit fun for me to do, and I'm trying not to be too self-conscious because I take pictures a lot for a reason. I'd much rather be behind the camera. Anyway, love you lots, and happy Father's Day.